Hey guys, welcome back to Harpies in the Trees, where I review horror books with a supernatural focus. Thank you guys so much for your comments in the last video. You guys were sharing some of your own personal struggles with depression, with chronic pain and health problems and things like that. And I hope that you're feeling better today. I know it's day by day. I understand that struggle very much. So I hope today is a good day. I hope tomorrow is a good day too. But I think it's cool to talk about these things every once in a while, because so much of what's thrown at us, especially in media, is how everything is perfect, or, you know, this person never struggles and they're always like succeeding and they're doing all the things they want to do. And, you know, real life really isn't like that. If you have that type of life, that's amazing, you know? But I think for most of us, it's a struggle. But that's okay, because we all struggle. And I think like the more that we realize that, the more empathetic that we will be to others. So that's just my wish, I guess, for the universe. And I also appreciate you guys being so encouraging and supporting of, like, you know, when I'm feeling bad and taking care of myself. And I hope that you guys are also doing the same for yourself. So today we're going to be doing reviews for 2 books for the Scary Locations TBR, which feels like so long ago. I feel like I have to apologize. I feel like it's been forever, but it's just like all these things come in between. So if you forgot which books they were, let me remind you. Monster of Elendhaven. This was for the prompt Abandoned Village, I believe. It's kind of a real loose connection when I grabbed this. And then also The Worm and His Kings, which deals with tunnels. But before we do that, someone has a message for you, and I've been asked to leave the room.
Boo! Hello, fleshies, it's me again. I am here because Merce is taking her sweet time on trying to figure out my name, and I can't wait. So I am asking kindly to you fleshies out there, what do you think I should be called? Put it in the comments.
So this story is about Johan, who calls himself a monster. He is the monster of Elendhaven, and he is a monster because he cannot die. So he has a lot of power in that. He ends up meeting Florian, who's sort of a magician of sorts, but he's also kind of a politician. And Florian ends up wanting to hire him as a bodyguard, because a great bodyguard that can't die, I mean, that's pretty good. So they kind of team up and work together, and Florian's main dream is to control the resources and like kind of what's going on in Elendhaven. I feel like the synopsis was really kind of far away from what the actual story was. In the beginning of the story, we get to meet Johan, and the whole beginning is like really dark, really perverse, really just, you know, violent. And it really sets the tone for what you think you're going to be getting into. Like, it sets the whole entire ambiance for the city, this dark industrial city, this place that is so hard to live in. You know, surviving there is extremely difficult. It's surrounded by a Black Sea that has its own mythology, which actually was really cool, but they didn't really focus on that too much. So you're thinking, ooh, you know, this sounds really good and really promising. But by the time we get to the middle of the book, the tone changed and it became more lighthearted in a way. And it was kind of a weird switch for me.
I thought it was something else.
You know, I'm just finishing up editing. And the thing about Monster of Elendhaven that kind of just dawned on me, you know, is that it's a dark fantasy. It's not really a horror book. And I think I did have some like horror expectations from it. But I think this is why it went from this dark tone from the beginning into this more lighter, playful tone. At least That's how it felt to me. And also, you know, in the way that it ended, maybe that's just something that's much more common in fantasy. I don't read fantasy, any type of fantasy. I'm not really into it. Of course, there's exceptions, but it's not something that I'm into like at all. And the other thing too is that like the book looks kind of like it's going to be more in the horror realm. And also, Johann's character as the monster of Elendhaven is really pushed hard in the synopsis of making it seem like he's this huge predator on the city. But that's not really the story. So it's a little bit confusing, I think, for me at least. So yeah. I didn't really get into it. It really did not work for me. And a lot of the book is kind of more focused on Florian and Johann's relationship, kind of like their flirtatious relationship. And then there's a lot of stuff that happens in the auxiliary, but it doesn't seem to have much importance. And then when the ending comes, it feels like we just gave up on this story and now we're done with it. So that was a bit of a disappointing thing for me, because in the beginning I felt like it was so promising. I mean, at least for my preferences and tastes. So unfortunately, it just didn't work for me. I know that some of you told me in the comments, you were like, oh, I really loved this book. And then some of you were like, I did not like it. So I started off in one group and ended up in the next. It is beautifully written though, and the kind of small world building of the city is awesome. And I really did like meeting Johann in the beginning. And also, you know, the mythology that goes along with this city was really, really cool. And I really wish that I could know more about that. So it wasn't a great read for me. So I'm really struggling with what I want to rate this, because it's either 2.5 or 3 stars, because I just really feel like it had so much potential, but it just didn't meet it for me, you know? This story takes place in the 1990s in New York City. It's about Monique, who is homeless and living in the tunnel subway system. Besides just trying to survive the streets and the tunnel systems, she's also looking for her girlfriend Donna, who went missing. So Monique is spending a lot of her time trying to find out where Donna could be. And she begins to hear these rumors about something that lives in the tunnel system. And she begins to think that maybe that thing took Donna. So this is a cosmic horror story. I don't read a lot of cosmic horror. It's just not really my favorite genre. However, I do watch a lot of sci-fi. So I do have some reference points, I guess, for it. But this was excellent. What I really liked about it was it's a really thin book, but it really touches on a lot of different topics, like being homeless, being a female that's homeless, being transgender, you know, being missing in a city that doesn't care about the homeless. It talks about identity, it talks about physics, it talks about time travel, it talks about all kinds of stuff, like really deep stuff. And like one of the things that, you know, the type of sci-fi that I like is like, I like that kind of like, you know, a little bit pretentious, like Sunshine, Interstellar, Event Horizon, Solaris. I really like the existential kind of stuff, you know, where we're constantly questioning our own existence when we are faced with something that makes our existence meaningless, you know? So that's really kind of like The Worm and His Kings is really dope. You know, like I said, I don't read a lot of cosmic horror. I feel like this story put a really unique and original spin on stuff. And I really did appreciate like all of the research into the science of like, you know, parallel universes and wormholes and black holes and like all kind of stuff. So it's really deep because it starts talking about like human existence, like on one level, which is like us here on this planet, and then existence in this whole entire astral level. So it's cool. And Monique's character is like very relatable. You know, she's this young person who is on her own. She's been kicked out onto the streets and she's trying to survive any way she can. And like the only way that she kind of really knows how to exist is by surviving. And while she's searching for Donna, you know, this survival instinct really kind of becomes part of her strengths. There's also some really hard-hitting dialogue in this book. And one of the things that really got to me was Donna is having this conversation with Monique, and she's kind of mad at Monique because Monique won't accept the situation that's happening. And Donna says,
"You'll bloom and you can't handle that. When you lived with your parents, you pretended to be what they wanted for survival. Once they kicked you out, every day was a new struggle. The best you've ever done is survive. You've never thrived."
You never thrived. Like, what painful words to say to someone like that. And that made me put the book down for like a second because I was like, and so that really kind of got to me just for my own personal like insecurities and things like that. So I was just like, whoa.
I'm being attacked!
It's an interesting journey that Monique takes. It's pretty heavy. And of course it's cosmic horror, so there is of course some type of mythology that's being created in the book, and it's pretty cool. Like, I really liked it. Like I said, I feel like it had its own like unique and original spin on it, so it was just really, really cool. The one thing that I did find that was hard for me though was the descriptions of like the buildings and the locations and stuff to me were very hard to visualize. It just really wasn't coming together for me. So I was kind of like cobbling together, you know, what I think it might be, but I just didn't really get a good sense of place, I guess. I thought this was very thought-provoking. It was touching, and it was also, you know, a unique and kind of spin on just the whole cosmic horror thing. So someone who doesn't read cosmic horror, and it's not the thing that I will go for ever. The only reason why I picked this up was, one, I know a lot of people loved it. There was a lot of people talking about it, and I loved the cover. But also, you know, for the scary TBR, it worked perfectly for the whole entire tunnels, and there was a lot of tunnels in here. Oh my God. Some of I really loved the tunnel scenes, you know. It's just so fun, like things being in the dark and you trying to like maneuver in the dark and find out and figure out where things are, especially how sound likes to matrix in tunnels and in the dark. So that had that really nice element in here, and it's really, really prevalent, so it really helps in putting that mood together for you. So that was my review for Monster of Elendhaven by Jennifer Giesbrecht and The Worm and His Kings by Hailey Piper. If you liked this video, please like and comment below. I would appreciate that so much. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Cunning Folk by Adam Neville, and I think I'm going to throw in probably like a novella of some sort along with it. But until next time, please take care of yourselves, look out for each other, and I will talk to you next time.